we have a change of scenery. Good morning. Sorry, I look very far away. It's very hard to reach you from here. Normally you see me right next to you during these fitness fragrance reviews, but I've now got a sofa in my room, so thankfully I can use this now to do some of my video scenes, video shots. Makes it a little bit easier on the old knees. So we are doing a fitness fragrance review today, but with a little bit of a twist. The one I've got here is called Lush Furze. Now Furze is one of their perfumes. Furze is actually a plant. I believe it's called the gorse plant. And yeah, I've done a sort of initial impressions video of this one before on the home treadmill. This is my brother's fragrance, but I wanted to give it a full fitness fragrance review today. So if you haven't seen these, essentially I do a morning workout. So I go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while wearing a fragrance. We rank them on 5 categories. We're going to look at the price/value for money, versatility is how much you can use it in different situations. We'll look at the projections, how much I noticed during my run, and we'll do a room spray test later to see how much it fills up the room. We'll look at compliment factor, do I think it's good for getting compliments, and then we'll also look at its longevity, where I'll spray it before the gym, then when I come out of the shower, we'll see if we can still detect the fragrance. So what we're going to do first though, we're going to go into this a little bit more detail, so we'll look at the note breakdown, and yeah, tell you what's inside. Okay then, so what is in Lush Furze and what is the overall vibe? What does this fragrance kind of smell like? Well, this is part of their perfume library, which I didn't realise. So some of them have a white label on their perfume bottles. The ones with the black label are slightly more expensive. Basically, I personally found from my experience so far, the fragrance concentration is stronger. They're stronger fragrances. But let's give you a sort of general vibe of this fragrance. So this is definitely more of a summer sun creamy type vibe. And when you hear the notes in this, you'll probably understand why. So the top notes in this: coconut, creamy, sun warm. You've got this sweet floral brightness. There's definitely some floral components in there. But in the heart, you've got this gorse flower, which is the main selling point. It's also called Furze plant. It's soft, almond-like, coconutty. So again, lending into that top note of coconut. Bit of a sun cream vibe, a bit powdery. That's what you're getting from those top notes. And then mimosa again adds powdery yellow floral. So floral, powdery, coconutty. Very much the main selling point of the top sort of tier to this fragrance. Then when we get into the base, you've got vanilla, that adds a little bit of sweetness, a bit more creaminess, and then you've got the soft musk, creamy sweetness. So again, musk just makes it smell a little bit. When I hear about like musk in fragrances, I think of clean laundry washing type smell, and with that vanilla, yeah, it just sort of ties it all round and just takes that little bit of the edge off those floral components, because floral fragrances can be quite harsh. It just takes that off a little bit. So if you're someone who likes that sort of coconutty vanilla type vibe, I'm feeling of sun cream, that's what I get. Also, you know, those sun lotions, those SPF lotions, this is what I'm picking up from that one as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to go for a run in a minute. We'll do the first 2 categories. We're going to look at price/value for money and also its versatility. Need to beat the rain. It's certainly not a day to put sun cream on, that's for sure. We'll just wear this instead. And we are off, so it's the start of another week. It is Monday when I'm filming this, and it's of course the start of another review, and it is Lush Furze today. So I think there's going to be a bit of a twist with this, so I'm going to get ChatGPT involved later. So when I finish my workout, obviously I count up all the scores at the end. Today I want to see what ChatGPT can do. I'm going to get them to also rank this fragrance on the 5 categories I normally do, and see what scores they give and see how different they are to mine. So hopefully you'll get a bit of a second opinion of this one. But let's start with price/value for money then for Lush Furze. So on their website you would have just seen it's £75 for 100ml. Do I think that's good value for money? I'm going to be honest, no I don't. And again, I'll always mention this with Lush, and I have to keep reiterating it, particularly more with their body sprays than anything else. Lush do simplicity well. Their simplicity, you know, they only use 3 or 4 notes normally in their fragrances, but they're really high quality, so it makes the fragrance more expensive, even if it's not as complex as something that you'd expect. They're quite linear in this, so they don't change too much. The problem with this one, I find that coconut vanillic smell personally a little bit cloying. Vanille by Mason T takes one of these sort of fragrances that has that sun cream coconutty vibe, and I think when you're paying £75–80, I personally want a little bit more depth. But I like some Actor Palmer citrus fragrances that are around that price range, and they smell quality and simplicity. But this one is still quite harsh, even though Lush are using quality oils. It is harsh, it's quite cloying, and I find for a lot of people, where the performance is good, because this comes from their perfume library range, it's going to be too heavy on a hot summer's day. But it's also too sort of
again, coconutty tropical maybe. So almost feel like you really want to wear this one, you know, in the winter time. It's just not one that you're going to dress up. It's quite casual in its, you know, appearance. Even though the vanilla's in it, it's overshadowed, I think, by that powderiness that, you know, is coming from that coconut and obviously the furze plant in this fragrance. So for that reason, there's an alarm going off. I promise it's not me. I'm not going to give it a really high score here. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Look, there's nothing wrong with it, and if you like it, great. But I think personally it's quite casual, it's quite expensive for that sort of price. So on to versatility for Lush Furze. How much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons, all those things. Well, to be honest with you, I've just sort of criticised it, haven't I, giving it a lower score on the price, based on the fact that I don't think it's one that you can really dress up. But I also think it's too heavy, too cloying to wear in the summer seasons. But it does have different facets. So it's got those sweeter components from the vanilla. It's obviously got the floral components, which is the main selling point of this fragrance, obviously being furs. And it's also got that coconutty sweetness that does remind you of summer as well. But I think this is one, definitely transition seasons. As long as you tone your sprays down on a cooler day, whether that's a cooler spring day or a cooler fall day, I think it's absolutely fine. I think you're going to really struggle though to pull this one off in an office. Certainly if you're dressing up as well, really smart, because the thing with this, it lacks a bit of depth again. What I was saying is, personally for me, I like a bit of patchouli or a bit of woods, maybe a bit of vetiver, maybe a boozy component in the dry down of fragrances. This doesn't have that. It just keeps getting more powdery, more sweet, and a little bit more nutty, and it's very, very hard to feel like it's right for those occasions. For me, this is the best if you're maybe at a wedding or something, like a summer party, and you're wearing a nice summery floral shirt. That's where this is going to thrive. Where maybe you're in the garden, you know, there's beer pong and stuff going on. I think this is where it's going to work best. For me, this is outdoor environment, but again, it has got the quality about it. I don't think this is something that a younger person's going to want to wear, even though I'm saying it's quite basic, and they're obviously recognisable notes in fragrances, things like vanilla and floral components. I think this is something that's a little bit more mature, sort of 30 and up or 25 and up if you're someone in fragrances. You've got to have an appreciation of fragrances, I think, for this, because it is super strong. And that's really what this range is all about. That's why they charge high prices, and it's in their perfume library range. So for me, it's a casual wear, maybe a summer party with friends, but yes, certainly nothing like a gym fragrance or a running fragrance. Obviously we'll talk about projection later, but I think you're going to feel, even though it's quite easy, a recognisable smell, that sort of sun cream, I think it's going to be quite divisive, quite aggressive, and too in your face for a lot of people, but most importantly for yourself. So with all those things considered, versatility I'm also going to give a 6. Really sorry, again, there's nothing wrong with this scent. I just feel like there's better ones out there that might have a woods component in it, that just if they could have toned down this sweetness, this powderiness in it, I think it would have been a lot better. But it's still nothing wrong with it. It's all personal preference, as with any fragrance, but that's my opinion on versatility. When we get back, we will talk about projection. How much am I noticing it on my run? As you can imagine, you probably already know the answer. It's strong.
So run done, it is now time to spray my room to test for projection. So if you haven't seen this before, essentially this is to test if someone came in the room, so say this was an office or a colleague came in, friend, family member, would they detect the fragrance? I'm going to do 10 sprays. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that sit in the room for about 10 minutes, and I'll talk about projection during my run. How much did I notice Lush Furze during my workout today? As I mentioned earlier, bit of a spoiler, it is strong. So yes, go down, have a cup of tea, and I'll talk about it. All gone. Just need to keep my hands warm as much as anything. So how much did I notice Lush Furze during my workout? A lot. And I have to say, it wasn't one that particularly wore off either. I noticed it a lot in the first 20 minutes, obviously when I was talking about the early rounds, versatility, price to value for money. But I did notice second half of the run as well, about an hour and a half in, and it was really there. It was really sticking. I didn't spray loads and loads of it on me this morning either, and it really just kicked off. Honestly, it was also there for a couple of seconds. Sometimes you just get a quick whiff of it and it goes. This one was lingering, and it does linger on the skin, and I don't think that's a compliment to it though. It's one of those, if you had it as a sort of 20-30 ml bottle, I think it'd be fine, because you know you're only going to have it this long. I think this is one that after a few uses you're going to put it in the cupboard for a bit, and you're not really going to want it to wear it for a while, because you just get a bit sick of it. That's just my opinion. It's got that sort of powdery talcum powder vibe, and it's just too much for me, a little bit too much, too heavy. That being said, if you want projection, this is doing really well, and I think this is going to fill a room. So yeah, let's head up there, and yeah, we'll go and give a score on projection overall. Hey, in we go. To be honest with you, I could smell it before I came in my room. I just had to be quiet because my dad was doing some work up here. But the smell is super strong. This has completely filled my room. This is the strongest one I've had in a little while. The concentration of these perfume oils in these more expensive ones from Lush are enormous. They are absolutely enormous. So if you are someone who's really into projection and you really want strength, have a little look at the perfume library, because yeah, you do get what you pay for. It's certainly a jump up in price from Lush. You know, we're talking £75 here. But if you like that strength, it's great. Just for me, I think that goes against it. But if you're on projection, it's got to be a 10 out of 10 for this round. It is strong. It's going to fill a room. Tone your sprays down. That's all I think. If you're in a climate controlled environment in an office, tone your sprays down. People will notice it. People will comment about it. And on the whole, there's nothing too, there's nothing too daring about it. It's just very, very cloying. And that's the only issue. But if you get it right and the right person catches it, this is a winner. And for that reason, I've got to give projection 10 out of 10. What we're going to do though is we're going to head to the gym now. We're going to talk about confidence factor. Do I think this phrase can get confidence? Even though I said it's a little bit cloying, too strong, can it be one that if it's used in the right environment, can it get confidence? And of course, if we're getting at the gym today, we'll bump up to 10. Do need to spray my arms before we go, so I'll do that, and then yeah, I'll see you out there. I think we'll do 3 sprays on each arm before my brother sees this and tells me off for using it. I've certainly noticed this morning anyway. There we go. So it's nearly 9:20. Essentially, it'd be about 12:15. So a couple of hours, 3 hours time. Essentially, have a shower there. We'll just see if I can still smell that later on. Pretty certain I will. Okay then, so compliment factor for Lush Furze. Do I think it is a compliment getting fragrance, despite all the criticisms I've said, saying it's too aggressive, too cloying, too in your face? Well, actually, yes, I do, and there's 3 reasons why I say this. First of all, I definitely think this is a unisex fragrance. Look, it definitely, those florals make it lean more feminine for me. But again, a lot of the notes in it, like coconut, like vanilla, they're notes, musk as well. They're used in men's and women's fragrances in equal measure. So there's an element of wearability in that sense as well. And I don't think it's as divisive if, you're wearing things like oud and leather. There's a lot of people that don't like those sort of smells, whereas this one, it's not like that really. It's just, again, its aggressiveness. It's just a little bit too aggressive. If it had like a bit of oak moss or some other woods in it that might just sort of tone it down, I think it would just be a lot better. Or if you added something just to take that sweetness away, maybe a really zesty lemon or something along those lines would just give it that extra edge. I think that would make it nicer, just smoother around the edges. But again, it's all about situation specifics with this. If you wear it to the gym, it's probably not the right situation, but it's got obviously a lot of strength about it. That means people are going to 100% notice it. It is, right in your face. So 100% expect comments throughout the lifespan of having this. And again, as long as you're just using it in the right way, you're not overspraying it. 3 or 4 sprays in the office, someone will notice. I think you're more likely going to get nice comments on this in passing, rather than if you're just sitting in a room for ages. So if you're doing sort of busy things outdoors in the day, I think that's where people are going to really like it. I said earlier, like a garden party, something like that, where you've got a white t-shirt on or a nice dress if you're a woman. I think this is where it's going to really thrive. And in those situations, as long as you're aware of that, it's going to do pretty well, I think. So I'm not going to be too negative on this round. I think this one is okay for that reason. And I'm going to give it, I'll be generous, 7.5 out of 10. I think there's definitely good comments that you'll get with this. You'll certainly get someone mention it during the lifespan of the phrase. I'm absolutely adamant of that. And it will cut through the cold, so it's got enough strength about that, but also that lightness, that summeriness about it, where you could wear it on an outdoor sort of party and yeah, get good feedback. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Of course, for getting it at the gym today, we'll bump it up to a 10. It's workout done, no compliments, but I've certainly noticed this fragrance that's been hiding under a long sleeve top. This is super strong. I think longevity is going to do just as well as projection here. So it's time to have a shower, and then yeah, essentially within 3 hours since I applied it, and then we'll give my score. Okay then, so it's just gone 12:05. It's time to smell my arms since I've had my shower.
and see what we can detect. Can we still smell Lush Furze? Pretty certain we will be able to. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight into it. It's 10 out of 10 for longevity. It's probably about 80-90% as strong, probably 90% as strong as it was when I applied it earlier. It's going to get you through the day. Take out the fact I've done a workout and obviously had a shower. If I hadn't done that, I honestly think I could go to bed tonight without showering and I'd still smell it by the morning. Whether that's a good thing, I'm not sure, but it has to be a 10 out of 10 for this round. If you like this scent profile, 100%, signature scent worthy, you're going to spend £75 and think it's well worth it, because it is nuclear, but it's really heavy on that coconut. It's still very vanilla, it's still very powdery. It hasn't particularly changed in terms of its profile on my skin. It has that, just sun creamy vibe for me. Sun creamy vibe with a bit of musk, just toning it down ever so slightly. But yeah, there's not a lot more I can say with it. It is nuclear. It's one of the strongest ones I've ever smelled, and I can't fault Lush for their quality. These, you can tell these are high quality oils. And if you're someone who likes that sun creamy vibe, garden parties, head outside with a white shirt, it does remind you of those sort of summer evenings with family and friends, and I do like that. It definitely has a place in perfumery, and I'm just glad they have utilised coconut, because I do like coconut on the whole as a scent. But yeah, what we'll do, we'll head back, we'll count up all the scores after I've had something to eat, and yeah, give my overall thoughts. We are back. I tell you what, I am absolutely knackered. A lot of people at work say I don't look nearly 30, but I tell you what, I do feel it at times. But then again, I have done 41,316 steps, all while wearing Lush Furze, so their perfume, part of their perfume library range. So what was the overall score it got based on the 5 rounds I ranked it on? 39.5 out of 50. That's an enormous score. And obviously we can say that the projection and longevity has played a huge part in that. That's the main reason it's done well. It's got 2 10s there. But it is a good scent. I sound like I've been quite critical of it today, and it's just purely on the fact for me, it's not the scent profile I like. It's just too aggressive. If it was a 20ml bottle, would I think probably differently? Yes, I would. But I'm certain by the time I get sort of 1/3 of it down, I would have had enough of this fragrance. It'd be pretty redundant. I'd just leave it in the drawer for ages until there's an occasion. I just think it's very cloying. That floral component, the vanilla and the coconut, they're all really strong, really aggressive, and they smell brilliant, but it's just too much for me. And that's just personal opinion. I'm hoping by the fact it has got an amazing score, you can see that I've not tried to sort of put my own bias on it too much to, affect it, because I do want to emphasize this is a good fragrance, and that's what the score reflects. But yeah, it's slightly more feminine for me, and it's just hard to sometimes find a particular occasion that I'd really want to wear that one as well. But let's say if you tone your sprays down, use it in the right occasions, people are going to mention it. I'm absolutely adamant if you do go through it. My brother's actually gone through a lot of this, hasn't he? People will mention it. That it's so strong, undoubtedly. And again, I think the general vibe is not that divisive. It's not as leather and oud as we were saying earlier, or myrrh. I think that can be quite a divisive note. So it's just a case of just using it in the right situations and wearing it the best way you can. Just toning your spray relative to what you're doing. So I did also say ChatGPT is going to rank this fragrance, going to rate this fragrance. Was it going to give more than 39.5? I'm not sure. Should we find out what it said? So this is what I said to ChatGPT regarding Lush Furze. So I said, I have a task for you. I want you to rate Lush Furze on its value for money, versatility, projection, compliment factor, and longevity. Score it between 1 to 10, with 10 being amazing and 1 rubbish. I want a small paragraph of why you've given that score for each category. So for value for money, they've given 5 out of 10. Now I said 6 out of 10. So what I'll do, I think when I do this in future, because I definitely want to do more of these sort of comparisons, I'll do them step by step. So I'll know the scores beforehand, and we'll do it as we do each category. But for today, we'll do them all as one. So 5 out of 10, it says, Furze is not a cheap perfume compared to many mainstream and niche offerings. Its price is fairly high for what many consider a simpler scent and polarizing profile. Kind of what I said, really. Some reviewers love it, but others feel you could get a similar coconut floral vibe for less elsewhere. Given the mix of opinions and modest crowd rating for price versus quality, it sits right in the middle. See, it says it's great natural ingredients and unique concept, but not everyone thinks it's worth premium price. I do think that. I think coconut should be a cheaper sort of price, or this vibe of scent. I actually think coconut could be used better in more expensive fragrances. And I really like one that's very, very synthetic, but cool water intense, brilliant one. Coconut water more than, the sort of
meaty part of the coconut. So versatility, they gave 6 out of 10, which is exactly what I gave as well. But what did they say? This scent leans strongly into its coconut vanilla floral character and doesn't really shift across seasons or occasions. It's lovely in spring, summer, and casual settings, but less fitting for formal or colder weather in many folks' opinions. Funny, isn't it? Because I pretty much said that, but I do think colder weather this is fine because it is so strong with that vanilla. So that's the only thing I do disagree with. Now this is where I definitely disagree. Projection 6 out of 10. Reviews on projection are mixed. Some find it moderate but pleasant and noticeable, while others say it stays close to the skin or softens quickly. On scarves or fabrics, it can last longer and be stronger. Well, I do apply a lot on obviously my clothing as well. Considering these various experiences, it's decent but not massive. I think it's overpowering, and I'm someone who likes strong scents, so just be aware if you are someone into this, it is a strong fragrance. It's certainly more than a 6 out of 10. I'm not saying it's the strongest one in the world, but just it's cloying because of how sort of powdery it is more than anything else. Compliment factor 7 out of 10. Well, I said 7.5. Many users say people notice and enjoy Furze, especially the creamy coconut floral warmth that's friendly and comforting. Some people really love it and get compliments, though others don't enjoy the scent on themselves. So again, I agree. I feel like this is one, again, I'm outside, I'm at a garden party with friends, family. A lot of people go, I really like that. And my opinion probably would change on it for the better because of people saying nice things. Because I haven't owned this fragrance myself, maybe that's also influencing my opinion. And then longevity, they've given 7 out of 10. So it says overall crowd rating user experience says this has above average lasting power, especially on clothes or scarves, lingering into the day more easily than some lighter florals and citruses. And yeah, I completely agree with that. If this was just a plain floral or plain citrus, this would not have the staying power. I think the vanilla certainly plays a part in that. I think the florals in it are pretty strong and again very much musky, powdery. And yeah, that's what it is. It's a creamy coconut floral. So their scores added up. 6 plus 5 is 11. Add another 6 is 17. 24, 31 they gave it. So 31 out of 50. I don't think that's too bad. I think there's a little bit of personal opinion there, obviously, because they've just collated loads of reviews online. But I think it's one of them. I think most of the scores are the same. I just don't agree with projection and longevity. And I think most of you that have obviously seen some of my reviews on other fragrances that are strong, I'm saying this is right up there as well. So yeah, I'd say value for money. Yeah, it's a little bit expensive, bit basic for what you get. And yeah, versatility about a 6 out of 10. I'm pretty happy with that. It makes me sound like I know a little bit more about what I'm talking about, or maybe neither of us do. But I hope you've enjoyed this one today. Okay, I'm trying to do this concept a bit more, getting ChatGPT involved, but we might just structure it a little bit differently next time. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you later.